Hello and welcome to Introduction to Customization and Configuration for Microsoft Dynamics CRM 2016. My name is Derek Borman and I will be your instructor. I am a Microsoft certified trainer who has been teaching as an instructor for 15 years. I've been working specifically in the CRM space for a little over 10 years. From a CRM standpoint, I do a lot of development as well as customization implementations, do some deployments as well as infrastructure. Over the years, I've been involved with several different CRM implementations ranging from nonprofit organizations, applications, financial companies, as well as global manufacturing companies. I've also helped to develop a lot of the training courseware for several companies, including a nationwide insurance company as well as a nationwide manufacturing company. Currently, I do a lot of work with Microsoft CRM training globally as part of the enterprise training group. I've assisted on developing many of the CRM content or courses that are currently offered. So again, welcome to Dynamics CRM 2016. Over the course of this course, we're going to go through several different options. The first thing that we want to talk about is just introduce you to customizing and configuring Microsoft Dynamics CRM. Talk just a little bit about the methodology behind it, what are some of the different types of customizations you can do from a CRM perspective, but also talk a little bit about the types of environments you might work in, some of the differences that you need to be aware of from an online perspective as well as a on-premise perspective. And then we're going to go in and talk a little bit about how to configure CRM. Before you truly get in there and customize the application, it's important to know what the configuration tools are within the application to allow you to do things like, create goals for salespeople or for service people, to go in and configure some of like the auto number settings, auditing settings, document management settings, some of those types of things that aren't necessarily customizations, they're more configurations and tailoring the application to fit a specific way. We also want to talk a little bit about the security model, because that's really kind of the cornerstone from a customization standpoint to ensure that people will not only have access to the correct data, but they will have the ability to do whatever's required of them based upon their job. So we want to talk a little bit about how security roles work and how they interact with users and some of the different security settings that you can do to really tailor the application to fit the needs of either your organization or potentially an organization that you're doing business for. We also want to talk a little bit about solutions. And solutions, if you haven't done much with them, are really how you're going to package and manage and deploy customizations from one environment to another environment. Whether you're an ISV that has kind of a third-party application that you want to market, or whether you're working in a development environment and you simply want to take those customizations that you've made and move them into a testing or a production environment, solutions are kind of the way to take all of these customizations, group them together, and then package and deploy them in a very easy manner. Then we'll get into the actual customization and customization piece of CRM, particularly talking with entities and field customizations. And so making schema changes where you're actually physically going in and adding new tables to the CRM database, as well as going in and adding new fields to specific items based upon scenarios that you might need to do. Maybe you need to capture somebody's date of birth. Maybe you want to track bank account information for a financial organization, those types of things. And when you start talking about creating these entities in these fields, a lot of times they are going to have relationships tied with other entities. And CRM supports several different types of relationships based upon what it is that you're trying to do. These could be, your typical parent-to-child relationships where you have kind of a primary record and a bunch of secondary records. These could be what are called self-referencing relationships, which are actually used to support CRM's hierarchy structure that you have for viewing sub-records underneath kind of a parent component. We're also going to talk a lot about customizing forms, because really from a user interface standpoint, this is really where you start getting into making the application look a certain way and work a specific way for your customers. And so we're going to talk about all the different types of forms that are in CRM. We're going to talk a little bit about the different presentations, looking at them in the web application versus looking at them in the mobile application, whether that's on your tablet or on your phone, and then talking about how you can streamline those forms to make it easier maybe to work with subcomponents and other records from an application perspective. We also want to talk a little bit about views and visualizations. And when we talk about views and visualizations, we're talking about working with larger subsets of information. From a form level, you're really typically looking at individual records, but from a view and visualization, you might be looking at all the opportunities that meet a specific criteria, and now you want to display those in a chart. So we're going to talk about the different views in CRM, the different charting capabilities that you have, as well as some of the different dashboard capabilities and theming options that are available to you from an application perspective. And then we also want to introduce the concept of processes. And that's when we're talking about processes, we're talking about workflows, we're talking about business rules, and we're talking about business process flows. So you can really start to tailor the application through either automation or through guided processes to lead users in the direction you ultimately want them to go.